Like I want to go from level 8 to level 9.
Yeah,
And
that's what I want to know.
I also have to admit, I don't know if I'm at level 6 or level 8 right now. I might be at level 4 trying to go to level 6. And so I want to be open to all possibilities. And so personally, I'm rethinking the role of a restrictive diet in my life, because a restrictive diet is a form of stress to the body. So when you fast...
And the mind, let's be honest, and the mind.
Good point.
It's kind of obsessive.
Good point.
I mean, you're talking to a female, right? Like females we are the queens of restrictive diet. We're like, tell us what we can't eat to be skinny and look young forever, and we're in. Like,
wow.
And that's a different mindset than a male who's been in performance. I mean, you've never had to worry about your weight in your life, I would imagine. Have you?
A couple wonderful occasions where Fatty Popcorn Boy was eating so much popcorn at night and not paying attention. So I did a show on that topic where I stepped on the scale, and like the first time in my adult life, I'm like, oh, that can't be right. And then I'm like, oh,
but
geez.
Women, I mean, we've been restricting shit out of our diet for that's all. That messes with your head. It makes you obsessed with eating food. You actually then, I think, are more hungry because you're walking around all day thinking like, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. So then you're just obsessing about food, and then you want to eat more, and then it's harder to not eat more. I think it's a tough mindset.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Tough mindset.
So we have the physical stress
and the emotional
and the mental stress.
Yeah.
And the physical stress comes in the form of the stress response, which is kicked into gear when you don't consume any calories in the morning and you go about your busy day, especially a workout or whatever you're doing. And so same with keto. You're severely restricting carbs to force the body to make ketones as a survival mechanism, a byproduct of very low carbohydrate intake and low glycogen in the liver. And so this is, as touted, a wonderful health boosting practice, because your body goes into survival mode where immune function improves, anti-inflammatory processes kick into gear, cell repair, autophagy, the widely regarded autophagy, everything kicks into high gear because you're starving yourself to prompt a survival response and help the body work more efficiently. So this can be life-changing for people that have been slamming too much food their whole lives and not moving enough and not burning enough energy. But now, as I realize, my main focus for longevity, disease protection, and enjoying my life is to perform and recover and perform and recover again and perform and recover. And the world's leading longevity experts like Peter Attia and many others are contending that maintaining functional muscle mass, muscle strength throughout life is the number one predictor of longevity, disease prevention, avoiding falling, which is the number one cause of demise and death in Americans over age 65, just routine falling. Then they break a hip, then they get in the hospital, then they get inactive, they never climb out of that hole. And so I want to be coming from that athletic realm that I reference and just do the most active, energetic, high performance lifestyle I can muster. Of course, I don't want to overdo it either, but I want to perform and recover to my best abilities. So now, where does diet come into that? I already have sufficient stress when I'm going to the gym and lifting weights, sprinting, doing a long hike, challenging myself physically with performance and needing to recover. So I want to strive for maximum nutrition and maximum cellular energy status at all times. That will help me perform and recover better. And Dr. Tommy Wood, one of the great leaders in our ancestral health scene, he told me this many years ago, and I've paid attention to it at different levels, but now it's centerpiece. And he says he wants healthy athletic people to consume as much nutritious food as possible until they gain a pound of fat, and then you can dial it back a little bit, and that's when you realize you're optimal. And that contrasts a little bit with some of the longevity experts who are contending that if you can minimize your calorie intake, you're going to extend your lifespan. All those studies have been coming from rat studies, not humans. And in the rat studies, one glaring flaw here is that rats eat lousy laboratory chow, junk food, when they're getting studied.
So of course, if you take it out, it's going to show, right?
Yeah, if you eat less junk food, you're going to live longer life, right?
Got
so
it.
I'm kind of flipping this on its side and thinking, how
is
can I...
Is it the calorie restriction, or is it the quality of the diet?
Yeah. And then, how can I get as much nutrition in my body as I need to be optimal? I don't want to gain a pound of fat just because I'm eating too much. But when I have eliminated processed foods and I eat the most enjoyable foods from, all the great categories, I eat as much as I want all the time. I'm never depriving myself or worried or thinking about it. And I'm full and satisfied and energetic and all those great things. And so I contend that most every healthy person, if they get up off their butt more and do more physical movement throughout the day. I'm not talking about killing yourself in the gym and you have to go sign up for CrossFit, otherwise you're going to get left behind. I'm talking about just longer walks for the dog, more frequent, yes, some explosive, energetic work as we talk about Primal Blueprint Fitness, and yes, the cardio obligation to move and go out there and spend time on your feet. All those things will conspire to help you live a long, healthy, active, energetic life. But my big concern, which has come into focus, is I don't want to stack too many stressors. So if I'm trying for sprinting, for a lot of activity during the day, for my elaborate morning exercise routine, which I do every day, which takes 40 minutes, and it's pretty challenging, I don't want to then fast and start making life more stressful than it should be and prompting a compensatory response, which would be turning down thyroid, turning down adrenal, feeling tired, sluggish, and all those things that people feel on restrictive diets. I want to bounce up the next morning and go kick some more ass. And so people...
So you're working on not restricting. So you're working on just eating as much as you want.
This is starting in May 2022. I give a lot of credit to Jay Feldman, Energy Balance Podcast, for explaining this in a really compelling manner and causing me to wake up a bit when he said, hey, let's face it, fasting turns on stress hormones. That's the mechanism by which you're going to get through your morning until your wonderful 16-8 eating window opens, and then you can nourish yourself and start burning that energy, hopefully from a nice, nutritious meal. But it's like, wait, I don't want stress hormones to turn on until I get to the running track, and then I want to light them all up and do my fantastic workout and then come home and turn down the stress hormones. And so you're
using fasting only before like exercise.
Yeah, I mean, when necessary, like you don't want to go stuff your face.
It at all, right?
I'm trying not to. So when I wake up in the morning, I will now eat horrors. I can't believe I'm saying this on the air. I'll have a little bit of dried fruit, and then I'll go into my 40-minute session. And then I'll do a sprint workout or whatever. But as soon as I'm done with the activity, I will slam a giant bowl of fruit and a huge protein, high energy smoothie with frozen liver chunks in there, high quality protein, and a lot of frozen fruit and all my performance agents like the creatine and things I put in there. And so I'm getting fully fueled with good nutrition every single morning. Or I'll make a bunch of eggs and have a nice meal. But something is happening instead of fasting. And this is a purposeful, experimental journey to see if that might help me perform and recover better. Here's an interesting thing that's happened. This has been going on now for 9 months. I have the same body composition, same body weight. I'm not quantifying everything, but guess who did? Ryan Baxter, Primal Health Coach in the East Coast. He has everything. He's an engineer by trade. And so he has categorized his diet and everything he's eaten for years, and how many calories and how many macros, full data set. He started this experiment to consume more nutritious food, and it lasted 1 year. He ate an average of 700 calories extra each day for a year. And at the end of the year, same body weight, same body composition. I think he'd lost a percentage of body fat, but essentially the same. So the question is, where'd those calories go? I know this is only one person, but this is the idea that it promoted a more active, energetic lifestyle for him so he could do an extra set of deadlifts, recover in 2 days instead of 3. All this is hypothetical, but this, I think, is you're asking me how I feel. I feel like I'm not going to sit here and say my life has been transformed because I now eat fruit and smoothie in the morning because I don't like people trafficking in bullshit hyperbole. It's like I felt pretty good before, and I feel great now. But it does make a lot more sense to me that we really try hard to mitigate the stress factors in our life. And so if you're in a stressed state already, and you try to go do a keto program or dig deeper into fasting or train harder, you're going to mess yourself up every time. So we have to protect our stress-rest balance at all times. And nutritious, easy to digest food of the highest quality is going to, support your recovery and your stress-rest balance. And that's, that's a good argument for backing off from things that can push you over the edge in a sense. And the females are especially sensitive to this because the number one most prominent biological drive is reproductive fitness for the female. And the most extreme example of abusing this are in the elite female, especially in the endurance scene, the low body fat elites with the six pack, or the people in social media or whatever CrossFit games. They cease menstruation. So they lose their reproductive fitness in pursuit of competitive success. And that is a sign of the body turning down very, very important dials for overall health and vitality because the stress level of the training is too high. And so if you are experimenting people with restrictive dieting, ambitious exercise schedule, and you have an asshole boyfriend who's mean to you sometimes, these are all stress factors on the same side of the scale as the fasting session or the ketogenic macros that you're following.
Interesting, Brad. Very interesting.
Which one, the boyfriend or the...
all of it, all of it. But on the, kind of reminds me a little, it's like borrowing a little bit from Layne Norton, the whole bodybuilding scene. I remember I worked out with this one female, she was a bodybuilding competitor type, and I was working out with her for a little bit, and afterwards she's like, all right, we're gonna go to my house, we have to eat chocolate chip cookies. And I was like, I'm not eating chocolate chip cookies after a workout, what? And she's like, oh yeah. And this woman was she was fit. I mean, she was cut. She wasn't bulky. She was just a really cut, fit woman. But I just thought that was insane. But this whole that whole thing is kind of a little bit maybe overlapping with more of that mentality.
Yeah, I like you mentioned Layne Norton, because he makes a good point now that the biggest problem is energy toxicity, quote, meaning we eat too much freaking food and we don't burn enough energy.
Yeah.
And so that trumps everything. And he's not even that concerned, seed oils. I know that people make a big deal about that, and sugar. And I'm like, whoa, people who are backing off from that are pretty rare. But he says the main point here is this equation where when we stuff our faces with too much food, that's when fat and cholesterol do bad things in our arteries. It's because of all the extra sugar in the 7-Eleven Slurpee combined with the eggs and the red meat and all this stuff that we're now understanding. If you don't burn enough energy and you eat too much energy, even if it's, let's say, a lot of nutritious stuff, you're going to put yourself into adverse health consequences. So if we're, like I said at the start, hey, let's look at big picture here and ditch processed foods. The other thing on the list would be just simply move more throughout the day and work your muscles, especially. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon talks about muscle-centric medicine, and we've always been obsessed with keeping the fat off our body so we don't get sick and diseased and all those kind of things. But if you just instead focus on keeping the muscle on your body composition is going to take care of itself pretty well as your blood work and your metabolic disease risk profile, because you're active. Now, yeah, you can be a muscle person and just slam a bunch of chocolate chip cookies, and that's not going to be optimal. That's going to be level 7 instead of level 9. But that bodybuilder who's slamming the chocolate chip cookies probably ranks above the person who had a keto bar at their desk
and sat all day.
Yeah.
And fasted in the morning
Right. And fasted in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Very interesting.
Jay had a good one-liner when I interviewed him. He said, if you claim to feel better in the morning because you're fasting, we got to take a look at that shitty ass breakfast you ate.
Yeah.
If you eat a nutritious breakfast like I described with wonderful pasture-raised eggs or a really high-quality smoothie and a bowl of fresh fruit, we're going to expect that you feel better, than than even fasting. But people feel good fasting and they feel great on keto because of the stress mechanisms that are kicking into gear. And I think that's an important distinction. And there's also another distinction from Mark, who says he is so good at metabolic flexibility that it's really not that stressful for him to fast every day until 1 p.m., including slam out an impressive workout in the morning. So he's done such hard work to get to that level of extreme metabolic efficiency and metabolic flexibility that he too is thriving at a high level in life because of his commitment to fitness, because of his commitment to eating healthy, nutritious foods. And so we don't really have a dispute. I had to sit down with Mark, and he's always my go-to guy when I get confused and frustrated. Like, Mark, what about this, energy balance model where you're not fasting, you're doing this, you're doing that. And we all kind of land in the same destination, which is we're putting only the best foods in our mouth that we really enjoy and to give us good nutrition. And we're trying to lead that healthy, active, energetic lifestyle.